Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm about to give a hard hitting message here on the Israeli Palestinian conflict. So, buckle up and let's go. All right. I am not for sending any foreign aid to Israel. All right. Last time I checked, we got people living under every single bridge in the United States. You think we should be helping them, or do you think we should be sending that money to Israel? All right. The working class people of this country would never vote in a majority to send, if we were actually given the choice in a fucking democracy to send money overseas rather than helping our own citizens. Could you imagine people going to the ballot box and having the choice and saying, hey, would you like to send $50 billion over the next 10 years to Israel? Or would you rather choose to invest that in some schools or hospitals? How about a high speed rail network? Restoring some polluted areas, investing in small businesses and family farms, increasing Social Security and Medicare. How do you think that vote would go? Americans going to the ballot box to decide what they actually want to do with that money. I know that it would be overwhelmingly Americans in a majority would support giving the money to ourselves rather than sending it overseas. Okay. So which side are you on? There's like 50 countries on the list getting 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 100 million, 200 million, 1 billion, 2 billion. If you had Americans go to the ballot box and a list of 50 US countries of other countries that are going to get foreign aid and how much money, and then if you put side by side, would you rather invest it in the 50 biggest cities in the United States for urban development, infrastructure, jobs programs, like you name it, environmental cleanup, like literally anything, paying teachers more? That election would be a landslide. The American people would never choose to give away their tax money like that to other countries when we have so many urgent needs here for our own citizens. Okay? All I'm saying is put it up to a vote. And I know who would win that vote. Moving on to Israel. The Israeli leadership is a mess, and we do not need to be getting mixed up with this country any longer. Okay? They have created and imposed on their own citizens a 1984 Orwellian style system of state surveillance and control over their own citizens. You can't go into a shopping mall in Israel without going through a metal detector. It is next level state security in all of this invasiveness stuff, but in the name of keeping you safe. They got to keep you safe. Okay? Israeli citizens have little bomb shelters in all of their houses to keep them safe from rocket attacks. And they just live like this. They live with being like, okay, well, an air raid sound will go off and I'll have a minute or two to be able to duck in my little rocket shelter inside of my house. The Israeli government is making their citizens live through this. It's a crime against democracy and it's a crime against humanity. All right? They have drones and the most sophisticated technology on the planet Earth. They have cyber warfare tools that can access your cell phone and your laptop computer without even your permission. All you have to do is be connected to the internet, and they can have instant access to your materials attached to the internet. And we can thank Edward Snowden and WikiLeaks for that, for letting us know that. The Israelis have fought wars with every single country in their region for forever. Okay, they don't know how to have peace. In the 1940s, the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s, and then in the last 20 years, they fought 4 wars just in the Gaza Strip. Okay, they are hell bent on confrontation, and they don't understand how to live with their neighbors and the Palestinians and the other countries. Okay, so why are we all mixed up in them? All right, they have mandatory they have a mandatory military draft in their country for all citizens. You have no choice. You are mandatorily drafted into the military. Okay, does that sound democratic to you? All right, and so after they fought all these wars, after they have this type of society where they're underneath constant threat, and after they've given up all their civil liberties in this democracy to this Orwellian security state in the government, they decide to double and triple down about 16 years ago and decide, you know what? You know what we need to do? We need to build an open air prison around the Gaza Strip. You know what? That's what we'll do. We'll put a wall with armed security guards and military with guns and barbed wire and surveillance and drones. We'll wall in a city of 2.2 million people with checkpoints and asking to see your papers and a naval blockade on one side of their country. Yeah, that's the solution to security. Yeah, that's real good. And having military guards and stuff on all the borders. Yeah, we'll just militarize and just create this crazy security state. That is their solution to the Palestinian problem in their country, all right, or in the territory. Okay, does that sound like a lasting solution, a lasting peace? Your citizens are going to have to live right next door to military guards going by. You know, at any moment, a rocket strike could come from the resisting people inside that prison and hit your home. And as we just saw, they did a little bit of a jailbreak and came in and with guns and started shooting people, which is terrible. Okay, a lot of people felt safe in Israel. They thought, okay, we've got this big system that was shattered. All right, their government can't keep them safe. Okay, their system is failing. All right, is this the type of democracy that like you would like to support? They created an open air prison around 2.2 million people. They give them second class citizenry and they don't support them in the judicial system. They have different sets of laws, different sets of property laws. They're not allowed to participate in the political process. Does this sound like a democracy to you? And to top it all off, this last year, the corrupt government in Israel, the executive branch, is trying to get rid of the judicial branch. They're trying to decide all the judges for them and overrule the judge's authority over the executive branch. Okay? This is not a democracy. They are a mess. All right? They are hell bent on conflict, and we don't need to be involved in it. I do not think that a majority of Americans would choose to keep sending billions and billions and billions of dollars overseas to this type of democracy rather than helping their own citizens live better lives and save lives. All right? Put it up to a vote, is all I'm saying. It's time to jump ship from supporting countries that cannot get their act together and that refuse to change their hardcore apartheid ways, because countries like this will eventually lead us into World War III. Right now, the Israelis are bombing residential areas and highly populated areas in the Gaza Strip. They're killing innocent civilians in the same way that Hamas just came in and targeted them. So they're doing the exact same things that they're doing to them. So it's this cycle. Should we be caught up in that? They're doing this cycle of killing over there. Should we be caught up in that? The answer is no. They can't get their act together. It's my prediction that tens of thousands of Palestinians are about to die. The hardcore government of Israel has already cut off electricity, fuel, and water supplies to the Gaza Strip. They have bombarded the only exit place to Egypt on their border crossing of the Gaza Strip, so the civilians have nowhere to go. They've bombed schools and health clinics already, and they've bombed critical infrastructure. So for people trying to take people out of the rubble, like literally whole families are getting buried in houses. How is that going to solve this problem, coming in with a mighty hand and payback? How is that going to solve the problem? It's not. It's not going to solve it. Okay? There is no solution from that. Okay? Unless you're literally going to kill every single Palestinian and just take over their land, and then, oh, hey, there's no more Palestinians around, and oh, hey, we have peace now. That's not the path that anybody should support. Okay? The Israeli government doesn't want negotiations, and they don't want peace. All they want is conflict. We shouldn't be involved in it. The Arab people in the region, they don't like how the Israelis are occupying the Palestinians. There is a high risk of other countries getting involved in this conflict, and we don't need to be involved in another world war over this. The Israelis are not a country I want to go to World War III over, because they're hyper aggressive, undemocratic, and Orwellian police state. I'm not on that side, all right? Our politicians need to stop sending money overseas and take care of our own citizens first, and put pressure on Israel to negotiate a two-state solution, which they've been in the way of since 1950, and end their military occupation of Palestine.